Hello and a warm welcome from Rayner's Lane for the opening instalment in this year's Inter-Services Under-23 Football Championship as the Royal Air Force take on the Army. And to get those footballing flavonoids flowing, let's cast our minds back to see what happened in last year's competition.
And here's Buick. Oh, what a chance!
So unlucky.
Makes the clearance.
Might be off
penalty.
it. He's off. He's off.
Oh dear, that is a real blow, isn't it, for
The skipper as well.
Yeah.
Huge turning point. And they've turned it nicely, and a chance maybe for James. The flag stayed down, and Owen James this time has scored. And the shot from distance is in, and the Army have a second, and the RAF have literally gifted them the second goal. That's a really good flick. He's onside, Fagan, and a chance for the Army to finish it off, and he has done.
Header goes in, and it is into the back of the net.
It's a goal, John.
And this time it is Sol Roche who scored, the number 9. So Vincent then with a free kick. Takes it,
shot.
And it's a good
follow-up.
save.
It's a
And
goal.
the follow-up. It's a
goal,
follow-up.
John.
Tries it
Oh,
behind.
he's
And
giving
that
it
is
a
a penalty. Well, takes it, scores! The Navy back in front. The Navy back in charge in terms of the Under-23 Championship.
Well, the players are warming up, putting their game faces on. Now, earlier this week, we caught up with the head coaches. John spoke to Danny Bartley, but first, I spoke to Army head coach, Gerwyn Griffiths.
This is the platform, the stepping stone into the big stage, and that's the senior service football. And this is great for them to go and showcase themselves. As we've seen now, it's on TV, which is great. Great work from you guys. But they can certainly put themselves out there and show what they've got.
I think people forget that, you know, in the normal walk of life, people can go out and just buy a left back or a right back or whatever position they need. You have to try and plug those gaps with who you've got. So are you comfortable? Are you happy with this year's squad?
Yeah, really happy with the squad, the quality in the squad and who we've got available. We don't focus on who we don't have available. We only focus on what we've got and how we can work with what we've got in the game plan and develop them into a team that can hopefully win this tournament.
It's got to be one touch in the middle. Yep,
I think we rely a lot on the players that do have that experience, and that's always good for us. We do have a number of players that have that experience, whether it's 1 or 3 or 4 years experience, which some of them do have in this group, and it's them that really carry the youngsters, and then once they've got that exposure and that experience, then that holds them in good stead for the tournament. We're very much looking forward to it this year. We're looking forward to getting stuck in against the RAF again, and we'll be looking to go one better this year and winning both games.
Yeah, ultimately it's about developing the lads and hopefully getting them to step onto the senior team. But yeah, we've been quite fortunate in the last month. We've had a young lad come in and we took him to Cyprus and he's impressed, so he'll come straight into the squad.
And that's obviously great for them, and it's a real incentive, obviously, for any young person who's thinking of joining up, likes their football,
a way of playing representative football almost immediately.
Well, absolutely. I think sport across the military is a great incentive for anybody to join up. So yeah, football itself, it's one of the biggest attended sports in the Air Force, in the military itself. So yeah, I mean, if people want to play sport and join the military, it's certainly something to do. We've enjoyed it. We believe this might be our last year, so we hopefully go out with a bang.
And obviously, the aim is to win this title. Up against two very strong teams. Obviously, you know all about the Navy because they've won it for the last couple of years. The Army, we know they're very strong. So, in terms of what you're telling the lads, what's been the strategy? Without giving too much away.
To concentrate really on what we can deliver. I do believe if we turn up and we perform how we can perform and how we have performed over the season, I think we'll do all right.
The players will be coming out very shortly. They will line up for the national anthem. So what better time to join our match day commentator, John Knighton.
Well, a very warm welcome to you to Rayner's Lane this afternoon for the first salvos in the 2024 Inter-Services Football Championships as the under-23 players of the RAF and the Army get their competition underway. Both of these teams anxious, of course, to break the Royal Navy's recent stranglehold on this tournament. Host the RAF looking to get a first win under their head coach Danny Bartley and indeed break their scoring duck from last year. The Army under head coach Gowan Griffiths similarly hoping a win today can set them up for a home encounter next week with the Navy. The under-23 championships, great springboard of course for young players to make that jump into senior service football, and amongst those being presented amongst the VIPs at the moment, we can see a great servant of Army and certainly RAF football, Neil Hope. The Neil Hope Trophy is being presented today. Neil is just about to receive a message. He's just walking through now. Neil, a fantastic representative for Royal Air Force football, including taking football to Africa role. 350,000 items have gone to 61 countries around the world, including Kenya as well. He's also set up the links with Shrewsbury Town, which means that the Inter-Services senior fixture is played there. Well, Chris James is joining me today, the Royal Navy's head coach. Chris, great to have you alongside today as the players just make their way to kick off the game. Quick look at the two teams. The RAF first of all, and new opportunities for several players today, including Jake Staunton, who's just completed his phase 1 training and comes straight into Danny Bartley's starting 11. Big performances expected as well from Adam Lamb, the captain at the centre of defence, and Luke Preen up front, who starts this season in the under-23s for the very final time. He's already a member, of course, of the senior team. As far as the Army is concerned, well, they've got very happy to have their captain Alfie Moulding back again. He's had 4 years in the under-23 team, but is returning after suffering a broken leg. So a big day for him. Danny Constable as well, another player who, Chris, you'll know all about as well, playing a big part for them. And newcomer to look out for this season is Lewis Simmons, a product of the Preston North End Academy. So those are the two teams. Chris, it's always really exciting, isn't it, when a new season starts in Inter-Services football. You, of course, were coaching the under-23s for the Navy last year when you had that wonderful success, but now heading obviously for the senior team as well. What are your thoughts as we await kick-off here?
Yeah, thank you, John. Thanks for having me. I'm really pleased to be here. It's going to be an exciting day, I think. Again, Rayner's Lane, great facility in terms of being able to see the best of the players and their technical ability. So some names that we recognise there from your opening that we'll see, but obviously, as always with the under-23s, a big change in personnel due to the guys aging out, other guys coming in. So it's going to be really interesting, and always a fresh look on it, always a fresh idea from the coaches, and it'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Absolutely, and of course I'm sure you'll be giving a very good watching brief to your successor in the Navy under-23 team. We won't talk too much about the seniors. I know that you had a big defeat last night in the Hampshire Senior Cup, but it was still nevertheless up against a very strong lineup. But again, as a coach, presumably as the coaches here will learn from defeats maybe more than they learn from victories.
Yeah, and the variety of the opponent you get in the Hampshire Cup is also a real benefit to us throughout the season. So, yeah, unfortunately culminated in a defeat to AFC Tottenham last night, but a really strong Step 3 team pushing for promotion to the National League South. So, no shame, Nick, 'cause it was a great performance from us, but yeah, we shifted a couple of goals, unfortunately.
Okay, so we're ready to go then for the 2024 Inter-Services football season as the RAF get us underway, kicking from right to left as we're looking from our slightly off-centre position here on the balcony here in the fantastic facilities here at Rayner's Lane. And straight away the Army getting themselves forward, looking to make a forward run. And it's a really good run from Lewis Simmons straight away, gets the ball inside, and very close was Owen James on the end of it. Well, fair warning for the RAF early doors there, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, flying out of the blocks there, the Army, and straight away looking to hit those channels with a longer, more direct ball for progressive forward runs and crosses into the box. Didn't quite manage to get on the end of it, but a great start for the Army.
Well, Owen James, of course, needs no introduction, of course. 2 years with the under-23 side, but already made his mark at senior level and indeed at UCAF level, where he was involved in the Kentish Cup towards the end of last year. Coming straight into the Kentish Cup, and you can see he's going to be a big danger for the RAF this afternoon. But it's the Air Force then in their all blue, pushing on down that right-hand side of the pitch, and a chance for them to get themselves into the game early on. Big central defender, of course, Adam Lamb on the ball now. He's their captain, very important member of their team. Wearing 25, by the way, is Joe Waters. I think he was down as number 4 on our team list, but a bit of a problem with shirts, apparently shirt sizes. So they've changed him to number 25. But it's the Air Force now looking for an opportunity themselves. Good defensive work, though, by the Army, clearing their lines. Harry Birchnell getting an early kick of the ball. 0-0 then in these early moments, but so close with the Army to taking a lead so early on in the game. And they've started well. The RAF, though, have got themselves back into this immediately. Wide on the left-hand side is Josh Randall. There's the captain, Lamb. And on the right-hand side is Luke Cranswick. Air Force just happy to, I think, get a bit of possession at the moment, Chris, aren't they, to make sure that they are getting the possession well. But Randall on that left-hand side gets the cross in. No one on the end of it, but again, it's the RAF who will build.
Yeah, often quite a frantic start to inter-service sport in any game really, or any sport. But the RAF just trying to get a bit of control of the ball here and build their play with a bit more structure. So we'll see how that works out for them.
Well, don't forget, wherever you're watching today, we'd love to hear from you on our Facebook or on our YouTube channel here live. And don't forget as well, later on, as soon as the football is over, we'll be taking you live to Meribel in the French Alps, where we've got some skiing action for you as well. So fantastic double header of military sport for you this afternoon here on Forces News YouTube. But we're right in the midst of the football then, this opening game in the Inter-Services Championship for the under-23 players. And going for a shot there was Jake Staunton. It was probably pretty ambitious, but it was worth a try, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it opened up for him. He found a bit of space to drive into, and he took obviously a longer distance shot, but he couldn't keep control and keep the ball down. So, but the RF getting into good areas to look for opportunities around the Army's box.
Talking to Danny yesterday, who obviously looks like it's probably going to be his last season coaching the RAF under-23 team, hoping for a win today, as you would expect, but also hoping for a good performance from his players. But we have the first corner of this match, which goes to the Army.
the Army really standing on top of the RAF goalkeeper here, filling the 6-yard box. So just expect an in-swinger into that area and see if they can pick up the bits and pieces or an earlier header.
Yeah, referee Phil Eddy just having a word with the players, making sure that no one steps out of line. So corner floated in, but dealt with by the defence. Army will get that ball straight back in again. That was Davy Watts. There are 2 Wattses in the team. Davy wearing number 4 and Alfie wearing number 3. Alfie very much the left back. Opportunity though for the Army, and that was certainly worth a try then. And that was Lewis Simmons again, Private Simmons. He's the Preston youth player, Youth FA Cup quarter-finalist with Preston North End. There's a lot of talent out here in both of these teams, Chris, if you sort of go through their biogs.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the boys that we see in service football, particularly at the younger age groups, have come through academies at different stages of their earlier lives, if you like. So yeah, it's good to see them bring that quality into service football.
Lamb floats one, handled though by the defence. Throwing then goes to the team wearing the red strip, the Army. This right-hand side, this is the familiar face of Danny Constable, a craftsman. He's been with his under-23 team for 4 years now. Knows his way around that, and also the senior team as well. This will be, I think, probably be his last year in the under-23 setup for the Army. Ball goes wide then onto that left-hand side, but Air Force mopping that up well with Luke Cranswick. He's based up at RAF Leeming. Well, little drive through there from Amani Riley, but unfairly brought to ground, says the referee. So the RAF will have a free kick. Yes. So good early moments for both these teams,
yeah,
Chris.
Absolutely, and just an example there, some nice football from the RAF boys, 1-2 touch football in good areas, and then found that little pocket of space to drive into for Amani Riley, but yeah, as you say, brought down just as he was getting away from pressure.
Very even Steven so far. In fact, I think it's fair to say that probably, despite the fact that the RAF have not had any success really in the last 3 inter-services under-23 competitions, they've all been close games. Chris, you remember that from, you know, when you played here last year, 0-0 draw, wasn't it, I think?
Yeah, absolutely, and a close victory for us the year before it in Portsmouth. So yeah, there's never, and even the scoreline last year of this fixture, 3-0 to the Army, you know, it was a game that was in the balance. But the fixture and obviously the scoreline went towards the Army. But yeah, always close competitive games, and rarely one team absolutely dominates another or any other team for kind of long periods, if you like.
So free kick then on the left-hand side.
Bit of a history of success in this fixture for the Army here. So.
And that ball floats out of play
on this occasion.
We do hope to hear him, by the way, at half-time from Jack Wright and Kieran Feeney, who have joined us as well here this afternoon. They're enjoying, obviously, watching this game. We'll be hearing their thoughts maybe at half-time on how this match is progressing. Great to have Royal Navy presence here today in large numbers, Chris. Yeah. And no doubt making a few notes as well along the way. But it's 0-0. We've been playing, what, 8 minutes so far in this game. Chance then for the Air Force with Luke Preen. He's a danger at any level. Here's Simmons. That'll be an Army throw, which Alfie Watts will take. But he's going to leave it, isn't he, for his namesake. Army then trying to spread the ball wide onto this right-hand side with Jack Layton. Leighton picks it up, tries to lay it forward. Good defensive cover though from Lamb. These big central defenders so important, aren't they, for both sides?
Yeah, he's already made a good impression in the air, and he stepped in well there to break up the attack early. So vocal as well, so he's going to be an important presence for the RAF back there.
Danny Constable with the high ender, toe ender. Air Force will be on the end of it. It's good defensive cover though from Walmsley. Don Walmsley. Air Force throw then, which Luke Cranswick just drops it in front of his man. RAF trying to play themselves out, do well with Waters. Really even Stephen in this match. I say last year's game here at Rayner's Lane ended 0-0. We're hoping for some goals today to bring you live here on Forces News. And we have your breaking play. We'll give a few mentions to those of you who are watching. I've just been told as well that the live skiing has been delayed slightly until around about 5:15 this afternoon. So we won't be going straight to them after the football is over. But we will be bringing you live skiing from Mirabel later on this afternoon here on our Forces News YouTube channel. So don't go away. Aaron Moore. He's moving himself across onto this side. Near side from where our position is. Good long throw. Aim for Owen James.
Yeah, so you can just see the RAF trying to apply their kind of traditional way of playing, if you like, on the floor, playing out from deep areas. Trying to build play through the thirds, whilst the Army out of possession have been really aggressive in the press. A long ball here though.
Here's a good one. Oh, goes down, and the referee has said that is a penalty. Well, it was a challenge that came in from the goalkeeper, and it was Luke Preen who went in for it. Goalkeeper, according to referee, says that Harry Birchnell says that Birchnell challenged that unfairly. It's a penalty to the RAF. Well, 11 minutes played here, the chance for the Air Force to take the lead in this match. Luke Preen is still down on the pitch. It was certainly more than a 50-50 challenge, but also a yellow card has now been also given to Birchnell for that challenge there. Luke Preen still down. Thoughts on that one, Chris?
Yeah, well, just as I was saying, they're trying to play the pretty football out through the thirds. They found a really good opportunity to go more direct with a great diag in behind into the space that was afforded to them by the Army's defensive unit, and a great forward run, and just managed to create that little bit of confusion in the Army penalty box, and that's led to the situation that we're in now. A bit of an injury by the looks of it.
Well, it was a great through ball, as you say, from Adam Lamb there, and the challenge went up, and it is good to see. In fact, it wasn't Luke Preen, wasn't it? It was Jake Staunton who went in for the challenge. He seems to be okay, and he's just going to be going off the pitch. I think he's looking a bit groggy, and sort of with any kind of head injury, obviously there'll be some sort of assessment to make sure that he's all right.
Yeah,
he seems to be okay.
Off. He seems fine, doesn't he?
He seems to be okay.
Check of him.
Yeah, check happening. So, Jake Staunton, who is, as I said, one of the newcomers in this team.
Yeah, Dean Hickman up for the penalty.
Here we go then. And sends the keeper the wrong way, right down the middle. And Dean Hickman, or Dean Hyam, scores that first goal. The RAF leading this Inter-Services Under-23 match by 1-0. Well, there we go.
Yeah, and I think it's been a fairly even start to the game. They'll be really pleased to have found that little moment and take full advantage of it. So we'll see how the Army can react to that. Nothing to worry about, no emergency yet as far as they're concerned. They've had their moments, so continue to play their football, I expect, will be the message, and they'll see what they can come up with.
Well, We've had our first goal. I did mention in commentaries a few moments ago we were hoping for some goals, so we brought you one so far from the penalty spot. RAF looking to press home their advantage. And that will go harmlessly back to keeper Harry Birchnell. Few mentions come on the RAF. Good luck, says James Sheehan to Danny Bartley as staff on the players. Nishan Gurung says, go Army. And Mark Bradley, let's go. Brian Crawford says, Army for the win. A few mentions on Facebook. I think referee Phil Eddy's just going to have a quiet word there with Jack Clayton, just to calm it down a bit. Early days, as you say. There's no need for them to panic.
Yeah, a few challenges going in from both teams there, and just trying to dominate it physically, both sides. So the ref decided that was a little bit over the line.
Free kick then goes up, and Air Force pick it up. But it's back with the Army and Lewis Simmons. So far, the RAF dealing really well with any sort of threat from the players in red. But here's Leighton. Through ball, nicely controlled by the Air Force. Really good work there from Waters. Ball goes down to the left-hand side, and a good chase from Josh Randall. There he is, there's Randall on the ball. Preen with him, offering to some support. Ball deep into the corner, and that is a goal kick, says referee Phil Eddy.
I think he might have given a throw in, actually. I think it might have gone off for the throw.
You're right.
Yeah.
We're tucked away in the corner here. Difficult to see, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah.
But it is a throw to the Air Force. Just a quarter of an hour played here at Rayner's Lane. The Royal Air Force leading the Army by 1-0 in the early moments of this Inter-Services Under-23 Championship fixture. Army then having to defend this throw-in on the far side, which Josh Randall will take. Goes back to Cranswick. And here's Waters. Well, hopeful cross there from Jake Staunton. I think was hoping maybe there'd be someone on the end of it, but a bit overzealous there, I think.
Yeah, I think, but on the back of some good play from the RAF, kept them in that in the Army's defensive third. They were building a bit of pressure now after their goal, so it's been a good response from them.
Well, that's easy for the Air Force to defend. They'll be happy with that all afternoon. Here's Jack Harrison. Being challenged. Eventually, goalkeeper Joe Piercy gets it away. A little bit of hesitation at the back then for the Air Force, which the Army will clearly hope to exploit as the afternoon goes on. Here's Constable. Plays it wide onto the left-hand side for Alfie Watts. But you're quite right, Chris, that the RAF much more measured in their football at the moment. The Army trying to get it forward as quickly as they can, and it's actually not really causing too much of a problem for the Air Force defence. Yeah, the Air Force are picking up the second balls really well. So if it doesn't stick to one of the two big front guys up top for the Army in Moore and James, then the RAF have done really well in picking up the bits and pieces, and then they've been able to develop play again from where they're comfortable to do so. So they'll be pretty happy, I think, with the first 17 minutes that they've had so far. Leighton then with the throw-in. Well handled by the Air Force defence. Army just trying to press home their advantage. They'll get another throw in then. Jack Layton again, he's going to leave it this time. And Aaron Moore, I think he's winding himself for a long throw here, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. Penalty spot, perhaps.
I think that's the general direction that it's aiming. 3 RAF defenders go up for it. Still the Army putting the pressure on, but eventually it's well cleared. Referee has given a foul on the halfway line. A few protests coming in from Danny Constable for that one.
Yeah, so again, as we said with the RAF earlier, a bit of pressure there in the final third for the Army, trying to hit those areas and get on the back of flick-ons, but the RAF have managed to clear it up there with Amani Riley clearing and then Logan Buick being fouled to relieve the pressure.
Free kick then, which Adam Lamb will take. Nicely tidied up though by the Army. This is promising for them. Going wide onto that left-hand side. Outside him, he's got Simmons. Goes in, shoots just wide. It was a really good effort as well from Alfie Watts there, who beat off a couple of challenges, and that's really another great opportunity for the Army. And he found his way through, didn't he? Not easily, but certainly you wouldn't have been surprised if that had hit the back of the net.
Yeah, and that was the difference in the middle in the centre circle there. We saw it stick to Owen James on this occasion. He managed to bring in the support play from Simmons, who played out to the winger, got on the overlap, so created that little bit of space on the inside for him, but he couldn't quite get his shot on target.
1-0 to the Army, to the RAF rather, in this Inter-Services Under-23 Championship game so far. 20 minutes played here at Rayner's Lane. That'll be another corner for the Army. Good work down that left-hand side as well. Alfie Watts has impressed me so far, Chris.
Yeah, he's just come into it the last couple of minutes, hasn't he? We've seen him just drive inside. He's gone on the outside on that occasion, so he's going to give his opposition fullback something to think about and how to deal with him. If he can be effective with both feet, it's not going to be quite so simple for him to show him one way onto his weaker foot, perhaps.
Their second corner of the match. And it's a deep in swinger, probably a bit too deep, is it? I'm not sure whether. In fact, unlucky. It was good work there from Aaron Moore, trying to keep that one. It was just a little bit too well hit, I think.
Yeah, I think that might be something to have a chat about at half-time if they can't square that away. They've had a couple of set pieces now where they haven't really hit the areas that I think they're probably looking for, so something to tighten up on.
Air Force with this penalty then, after 11 minutes, which Dean Hyam putting away. After a foul was adjudged to have happened on Jake Staunton by the Army goalkeeper Harry Birchnell. If you're just joining us then, live here on Forces News YouTube and Facebook this afternoon, and BFBS all around the Forces world. Wherever you are, you're more than welcome to our opening coverage of this season's Inter-Services football. All the games will be coming your way, both the men's and the women's seniors matches, as well as these under-23 championship games as well. Good defensive work from Josh Randall, keeping Jack Layton at bay.
Yeah, he's been busy. A really great piece of pressing up on the halfway line just before that action, and then back to do his work as a fullback. And yeah, he's been really aggressive in defending in those moments.
So here we go then. Aaron Moore winding himself up for another long throw deep into the penalty area, and they'll get the corner. A third corner kick then for the British Army team. Leading 3-0 so far on corners, but what really matters is that the RAF are leading 1-0 in this game. Halfway through then the first half here at Rayner's Lane. Corner floated deep to the far post, but it's just a little bit too deep again, and you were quite right, Chris. Doesn't matter seem to matter which side at the moment. The Army are possibly not making best use of their set pieces.
Yeah, they've overhit a couple, and I think the other didn't get past the first defender. So just getting that, just measuring it correctly and getting it into the areas where they can have the biggest threat is going to be. Otherwise, they're just wasted opportunities. That, you know, set pieces for the Army are, you know, a good source of opportunities and goals in previous tournaments. So they're going to want to improve in that area.
Keep those messages coming through for us. We'll try and get through them as best we can. Emma Staunton says, yes, well done RAF. Callum Hill, come on the Army, and Owen James hat-trick incoming. And a few other messages as well. Daz Smee watching on Facebook. Also, Jamie Doig is watching today. Good afternoon to you, Jamie, up there in Leicester. Doesn't matter what the sport, Jamie's always watching, if he's not busy looking after Leicester Tigers. So free kick then to the Royal Air Force, taken by Luke Cranswick. Floated into the penalty area, but dealt with quite well by the Army there. They bring the ball forward. Just not really finding their men at the moment. Owen James not getting the sort of service that maybe he needs. You would have thought with set pieces, you know, that would be a real opportunity for them, but it's the Air Force challenging again. Good defensive work there by the Army. Constable getting that one away. And here come the Army, but again, great defensive work and really impressive again from Josh Randall. He's looked really good on this left-hand side. Walmsley. Across to Watts. Air Force cutting it out well. Good defensive work again from them as they clear their lines and play the ball really intelligently up forward. That's a really good bit of play from them, and it's Jake Staunton. Oh, and the cross just didn't quite make it for Riley. And he's chasing it. He's got it. Crosses the ball in. But the RAF just dangerous on the break, aren't they, Chris? They look, you know, very composed on the ball. Here's Riley again. Through ball. And shielded pretty well by the Army. A bit of a argy-bargy going on there with Logan Buick. The referee just pulling them together and saying, come on, lads, don't need that. It's just a little bit of off the ball there.
Yeah, we've seen there the RAF get into a good central area, managed to break the line, and then with good forward runs, get in behind the Army's back line. Logan Buick was attacking the box, but he couldn't quite pull the cross into him, so he just missed out on that occasion. But a really good counter-attack from the middle of the pitch for the RAF.
Yeah, Buick experienced at this level, of course. This is his third inter-services under-23 campaign. He scored a couple of years ago, I think, in the 2-2 draw for the RAF. Based with the RAF regiment at Bryce Norton. Good play from Waters. Shielding it well, holding it off well.
Yeah, they've done well, and then they've got the space this side to use.
Well, Danny Bartley said to me, you know, his players well up for this game. They feel they've got a chance. They probably feel maybe they're the underdogs, as the Air Force have been for the last few years, but they're playing really intelligent football here. Yeah,
they're playing with I would say kind of their style of football, a bit more control in the build-up phase, and it's just that, as it often is, that linking that final pass to the final run to get that outcome that they're looking for in the final third. So if they can get that nailed, then they'll create more chances. But they're getting into those moments really well, so that would be pleasing for Danny.
It's a sort of pretty standard 4-4-2 formation, isn't it, really? But the defence, you know, holding it really well, and playing quite a high line as well against the Army.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he set them up well as Danny Bartley today. But I'm sure Griff will be taking a look at this and thinking, well, maybe we've got to alter our tactics slightly.
Yeah, well, I think he'll have seen the sparks. We saw it earlier on when we said about Owen managing to hold it up in the middle of the pitch. It was a great run.
That's a really good through ball, but again, great defensive cover from the Air Force. And Aaron Moore just not allowed a chance to get in there. Josh Randall, again, he's really impressed me so far.
Yeah, he's had a good impact in his defensive duties, definitely. But we've seen again there, the Army have managed to create that little moment in the middle of the pitch. Forward run, didn't quite link it up, but definitely a threat.
Throwing comes in, that'll be yet another corner for the Army, their 4th of this first half. And it'll be interesting to see what they can make of it this time, because they've not made the most of these set pieces so far. Interesting that RF have got quite a few players just pushing forward in the hope of getting that ball cleared. Well, the hooked opportunity there, it was Owen James who got the final shot, but lacked the accuracy that he was hoping for. Goes harmlessly wide. Goal kick to the Royal Air Force as they lead here by a 1-0. Half an hour played. Gosh, this has gone quickly, hasn't it, Chris?
Actually, yeah, it's been enjoyable.
Well, if you're supporting the RAF, you'll be particularly pleased. Andy Murphy says, come on, the RAF, all the best to Danny and the boys. And wherever you're watching this afternoon. Brian Crawford still thinks the Army are going to win it. And Mark Bradley says, let's go. Air Force then looking to build on that lead. Snuffed out there their attack, but again, the high line for the Air Force working well for them. Waters. And here's Riley. Back to his captain, Adam Lamb, who's marshalled his defence extremely well so far.
Yeah, the RAF, again, happier to keep it and more patient in their build-up. They'll go left to right, right to left, look for the opportunity to go forward. If it's not there, they'll look to retain possession, switch the point of attack again, and then try and exploit the spaces. And that might be from a more direct ball like that from the goalkeeper, but we've seen also on occasions go around and then look for the forward runs.
But it's the Army who have it. Simmons dodging his way through a couple of challenges and wins the free kick in the end. Well, they're certainly persistent to the Army as they hunt an equaliser here at Rayner's Lane.
Yeah, and that midfield battle has been key, hasn't it, for both teams in terms of creating the moments to counter-attack from. So each side having equal success in their moments, I would say, and it's then how they can kind of transition out of that moment and what they can create from it. And the Army, again, managed to get a set piece out of this, a free kick.
So free kick then to the Army. Floated in, but that's again harmless for the Air Force, and there's just a bit of shaking of heads at the moment from the Army boys, just wondering, you know, that again it's another set piece that's been wasted. And no trouble whatever for the RAF. 1-0 it is to the Air Force, an 11th minute penalty if you're just joining us this afternoon for our live coverage here of the RAF against the Army. That's a good, it's a good ball, just slightly overhit then from Jake Staunton. I don't think there was much chance that was going to be collected. And to be fair, neither goalkeeper has had a shot to save so far in this match.
No, not in kind of free play. It's been There we go.
But we could have a chance now, and the shot comes in there from Logan Buick. You probably feel he could have done better with that. He had a bit of time, didn't he? It was a good opportunity there. The ball sort of opened up for him there on the edge of the penalty area, and well, it was a chance. But coming down the other end now, here comes the Army with Alfie Watts. Ball goes out of play. That will be a throw into the Air Force. Opportunity missed again for the Army.
Yeah, a big chance at the other end for the RAF. He just didn't manage to do anything with his shot other than kind of just calmly pass it back to the goalkeeper, which he'll be really disappointed with, I think, Logan Buick there.
Diffin Pearce joining us this afternoon to watch our coverage. Good afternoon to you, Diffan, and all the old and bold from the UCAF team. A lot of them, of course, here today. Enjoying their forces football. Offside flag goes up, this time against Jack Layton on this right-hand side. Good to see that the linesman's flag is going up immediately.
Yeah, exactly right, yeah.
One of the most irritating things in the Premier League.
Yeah, yeah. A good line from the RAF. But I think, yeah, Jack Layton will be thinking, you know, looking right across the line there. It was a really good pass to him. He's got to make sure he stays on side there and can continue the attack.
Army, though, challenging then. Once more looking for an equaliser on the search. Good defensive shielding again from the Air Force. Really good work from Jack Harrison there, just keeping Alfie Watts at bay. They get the throw.
Yeah, across the board, the RAF have managed to defend that space in behind really well. Good forward runs and good passes, really, from the Army into those areas. But the back four of the RAF have been really competent at timing their runs as well and defending that area.
Referee allows play to go on. It's really good challenging work from Owen James, but they can't make anything of it, and the Air Force will bring it clear again. Randall, first time ball, goalkeeper Birchnell off his line to make the clearance. That's nice control again from James, but it gives it away to the Air Force. They can now break down the middle. Opportunity then for the number 25, and again the Air Force with a chance for a second. Oh, and really a great opportunity for Joe Waters. He might have had a go first time, actually. Yeah,
he could have done it. Seemed to open up for him. He decided to give it to Logan Buick, who couldn't get it out of his feet, set it back in for him, and again it's just a shot directly at the keeper. So but another big opportunity there for the RAF, countering out of the middle of the pitch. So it's interesting, but they'll be kicking themselves if those missed chances are if they pay for those missed chances later.
Well, they have had two clear opportunities to extend their lead from the penalty. Well, a challenge coming in there from Davy Watts, and that will be a yellow card for the challenge. Again on Jake Staunton, who's been a bit in the wars, hasn't he, so far this afternoon?
Yeah.
Interesting point, actually, Chris. Obviously, we've spent some time with both the teams in the build-up to the game. The Army very much training on the 3G pitch down in Aldershot, but the RAF electing to train on a grass pitch up there at Henlow. And I was talking to Danny Bartley about that. He said, well, you know, we've got to play the Navy on a grass pitch, so in a way, you know, but I'm just thinking, you know, that this sort of pitch ideal, obviously the sort of finishing that maybe the RAF have missed, maybe not having the practice on the 4G.
Let's see how this develops.
Floated in again.
Yeah, I think in terms of surfaces, I think it would probably be most people's preference to train on a good grass pitch. Obviously, if it's a bit of a bobbly effort, then you're not going to get maximum out of it. But you can transition onto a 4G more comfortably than the other way, I would say. But having said that, we've always trained on a 3G down at Temaria, so yeah, I don't think there's any right or wrong, if I'm honest.
Good challenging work from both teams, really getting stuck in here to trying to win that ball back. The referee says that's a foul. Free kick to the Army. And it's going to be a yellow card, unnecessary yellow as well, to be fair, for Amani Riley. I think he knew what he was doing. The free kick, the Army trying to take the free kick early. Riley gets a yellow card. That's the third yellow that we've had in this game. It's not been a foul-laden game so far, has it, really?
No, it's been more those kind of technical fouls, if you like, or trying to kill play, and rather than anything kind of dangerous or unnecessary. So you're just trying to stop them on their counter-attack there. So good decision, I'd say.
So Constable then takes the free kick low. Well collected then by Simmons, looking to try and get the cross in, but again, good defensive work this time from Riley.
Yeah, I think Simmons had the opportunity to deliver the ball, hesitated, and that gave Riley the opportunity to get back in, defend the cross. Probably missed opportunity. They had 4 or 5 guys in the box that were looking to get on the end of his cross, but it never really, it never materialised.
Another long throw then from Aaron Moore. Can they make something out of this? Again, a howitzer aimed at the penalty area, but straight back to the grateful RAF defence, and Joe Pearcey in goal. It remains 1-0 to the Air Force here, their home fixture, of course, here at Rayner's Lane. That ball just a little bit too hard. So Danny Bartley, of course, you know, he coaches one of the teams down here at Rayner's Lane as well, so he knows this pitch inside out. And I wonder if he knows where the bobbles are on it, because every pitch has its own little quirk, doesn't it, Chris?
Yeah. I shouldn't think he spent too much time coaching the lads on that.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. No. Waters. Nice ball aimed for Buick. He'll collect it, keeps it in play. Cross comes in.
Oh, he's got under it.
Good bit of play then from the Air Force, trying to spread that ball out. This game really has spread out as well. It's opened up in these last few minutes. We've just got 5 minutes left of normal time in this first half. This Inter-Services Championship for the under-23 players. Royal Air Force leading by a 1-0. That penalty from Dean Hyam after 11 minutes. And here's Randall then with the throw. It's been very even this first half, but I would say at the moment the Air Force just about deserve to be ahead, Chris. I don't know for your thoughts on that, but they've seem to have had the more measured approach.
I think they've had the bigger chances as well, haven't they? They've had the two obviously really clear-cut chances that they haven't been able to take advantage of. But they've found themselves in those areas a bit more often than the Army, who got off to a really good early start. But yeah, I would say I'd agree with you. I think the RAF have come into it and have had the best of the half so far, and therefore, you know, deserve their lead. They managed to get the goal.
Well, that's good play. Opportunity then for the Air Force. Oh, the header. Oh, and he's hit it wide. Well, another gilt-edged chance for the RAF. That time it was Staunton, I think, who was there. The cross came in. It was really good work from Logan Buick, just collecting the ball. And again, it's another opportunity gone. Yeah,
and they've had a little change. They've put Logan Buick out onto the right-hand side, and since they've done that, he's had an impact straight away. And the latest one there, which created the chance, but again, a massive opportunity missed there by the RAF boys.
Well, they could be 4-0 up here, because to be fair, the Army, apart from a couple of chances that have gone wide, have not threatened the RAF goal at all. Joe Pearcey not had a shot to save yet in this game. And I'm sure that will be of some concern to the Army bench. That's really good play from Randall again. Rather bought the free kick there, I thought, but I think Don Walmsley thought the same thing.
Yeah, he just managed to dribble into that space, dropped a shoulder and just evaded the tackle, and then the contact came through. And just seeing a bit of confidence growing in the RAF play as well now in those moments. Yeah, very much so. And quite, they've had the chances, as we say. From their point of view, I hope they won't be ruining those opportunities missed.
So they have an opportunity then with this free kick. Dean Hyam then, scorer of the penalty, will take it. Oh dear, and talk about wasted opportunities. That was another wasted opportunity, this time for the Air Force. Unfortunately, I don't think Jake Staunton was quite on the same wavelength then as his colleague there. So the opportunity wasted, and that ball's gone out of play. Bit of a lack of concentration from both teams at the moment, Chris.
And this is it. The execution of what you're trying to do is what it's all about, isn't it? Football is about, you know, the little decisions, and on that free kick, maybe it was planned, maybe it wasn't, but the execution didn't work out for them. And then again with a kick out, you know, poor execution, and you're giving the ball back in quite a threatening position. So it's really important concentration, like you say. Last couple of minutes of the half, concentrated all the way to the final whistle. David Webb is cheering for the RAF this afternoon. Thanks for clearing that one up, David. Come on, the lads, he said, but definitely the RAF lads. Josh Randall, who's impressed me in this first half. But again, ball just running away from them at the moment. Just into the last minute of normal time here. We will be hearing from two of your young proteges at half-time very briefly for their thoughts on this first half. Jack Wright and Kieran Feeney. See what they made of it so far. But here come the RAF. Randall again into the penalty area, gets the shot away. Straight at the keeper in the end, but... Yeah, another opportunity. More of a half chance, I'd say. They really sit up for him, but again, he's dribbled into a dangerous area without any real kind of opposition, but didn't really manage to contact with his shot. Yeah, Randall doing really well. He's saying he's impressed me so far on this left-hand side for the RAF with his defensive work and also pushing forward. Here's Lamb. Out to Randall. Nice little triangles for the RAF as they play themselves out, but it goes straight to an Army player. Collected by Moore. And that is indeed the half-time whistle. Had no break in play at all. Just had a 30 seconds or so of stoppage time. And the players then leave the field at half-time with the score at 1-0 to the RAF. And, well, I don't think there could be too many complaints there from the Army about that, actually, Chris. No, I don't think so. I think they'll be looking at themselves in terms of their out of possession. They were really positive earlier on in the half, probably for the first half of the half. And that's where they were getting most of their success. As the half drew on, the RAF certainly took some control, and particularly in that last 10 minutes or so, we're looking fairly comfortable and creating good chances in the second half of the first half, if you like. So, yeah, I think the RAF were really happy. The Army will be looking at it going, right, we need to address a few bits and pieces and have more threat. But a really good half of football. Yeah, it was a good half of football. Let's bring in a couple of Royal Navy senior players then who've experienced life very much in the under-23s in the past. Let's bring you in Jack Wright and also Kieran Feeney. Kieran, first of all, what's your views on that first half?
Hiya, John, to start. Yeah, no, it was all right. I think it was inter-services game, innit? So it was, they both just want to batter each other. Yeah, I mean, the penalties, it's one of them, innit? It's hard, innit? It's just... It could have gone either way, couldn't it? You've seen them given and you've seen them not given. Yeah, I think the RAF are probably kicking themselves now, how many chances they've missed. Me and Jack were saying before, the Army are probably going in now, 1-0 down, going, we can give this a good go now. I think you're right. I mean, Jack, from your point of view, those chances could come back to bite the RAF, couldn't they? The ones that they've missed. Maybe 3 good chances, 1 half chance towards the end there.
Yeah, me and Feen were just saying, obviously the game, there's been not a lot of quality. There's been not a lot of quality, but the RAF have had a few good chances, which they should be 2-3 up at least. The penalty, I don't think, is a penalty, but on the... You would say that as a defender, of course. On the balance of play, I'd say that they do deserve to be at least 1-0 up, but probably 2 or 3. If I was in the Army dressing room, I'd be happy that it's only 1-0, and I'd probably be coming out. And I think the Army will get something from the game. I just feel that, just because of the way that the first half's gone, and the RAF have been much better.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I know that you were playing last night for the senior team. Didn't go the way you wanted, but talking to Chris earlier, coaches tend to learn a lot from defeats, rather more from defeats than victories. And you've had 3 good games so far in the build-up to the senior inter-services. So last night, big learning experience.
Yeah, I think we knew they were going to be good. From myself personally, and I know a lot of the lads, that we were speaking about it last night, the biggest thing we took away from it was out of possession. The way that we were set up for shape. I mean, what was it, 3 goals they scored from set pieces? I mean, that's just one of them, innit? It's set pieces. They had quick ideas. They were quick. We maybe switched off 2 or 3 seconds more than we should have. They were already playing. It was stuff like that cost us, really. But out of possession, I thought the shape were really good. We weren't easy to break down. I don't even think they broke us down. They had to go around us, really. So I think there was a lot of positives to take from yesterday, yeah.
Absolutely. And final, just quick thought from you, Jack. Obviously looking forward to the senior inter-services. I bet you were out there playing in the under-23s, and you're obviously not today, but next week against the Army.
Yeah, I miss it. It's weird watching from afar, but yeah, focus on the seniors this year. Obviously there's a lot of quality in the under-23s with the Navy this year. We was watching them train yesterday, and I think they'll be all right. I think they'll win it again.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us. We're going to take you to the slopes of Meribel now for lots of winter sports action, because it's an entertaining period obviously coming up, and so loads going on. Let's now look at some of the exciting highlights so far that we have from Meribel.
So that's what it's all about, trying to provide opportunities for these guys to play regular football, which is not always...
Charged down, sorry, Bowman's given it away, and the shot from distance is in, and the Army have a second, and the RAF have literally gifted them the second goal.
name's Corporal John Stanbridge. I'm an aircraft technician in the Royal Air Force.
I'm Alex Cartagena, Corporal as well. Work at RAF Waddington, which I've been at for 6 years. Started bobsleigh 3 years ago, and now I'm on the World Cup with John here.
I broke my neck in a crash. I could have been paralysed, really. I made a mistake, didn't steer at the right time. We crashed quite early on, it was corner 4 or 5, and I got sort of pinned, so there was no way for me to tuck under the cowling. As a pilot, you're usually better off because you can hide. I couldn't get in, so at that point, I'm sort of jammed between the ice and the sled. And then we're going down, and I can see a short wall sort of coming. We hit that at maybe like 40, 50 miles an hour, and I heard like a crack or a pop. I thought it was like muscular, and then, you know, it takes another minute and a half to get to the bottom. I take a second, drag myself out, sit up, and I'm like, this doesn't quite feel right.
I ended up missing out my first season. I was away on deployment, actually. I ended up passing out in a storm drain, and my teammates found me, and it turned out I had a serious issue with my heart. Although John brought me into the sport, we didn't actually race together until Segulda.
Yeah, that was our first race, and in the first race together we got a top 6.
And then obviously we made our World Cup debut the other week in St Moritz and made a second run, so things have been going really well for Team RAF.
No one expected anything from us.
Just ended up coming back stronger.
Yeah, that was nice.
I'm Sergeant Adsbaird from Royal Marines. Joined the Royal Marines in 2008 at 17 years old. Went to Afghanistan in 2010, did Operation Herrick 12. So in 2017 I was asked to have a go at bobsleigh by one of the PTIs at Commando Training Centre. I said no the first year in 2016, 2017 I was like, right, okay, I'll give it a go. It was actually here in Lilyhammer. We came, did 2 weeks here. It was with John Jackson, who's the Royal Marine who won the Sochi bronze, and I absolutely fell in love with the sport. I know this track really well. It's the 3rd time we've been here this season, so if there's anywhere we're going to do a World Cup debut, it's this place.
You're in a position where it's chicken and egg, you know. The UK sport want results, but the only way to get results is to be there and doing it and competing. We need that chance to be there and have that chance to compete and show that we are, you know, there's podium potential, that we can do it.
There's got to be that carryover. Like funding, it makes everything just a little bit easier, where it's in terms of costs or support or the equipment. But once you get to a certain level and you start getting results, and I think that's at the point where you'll get picked up eventually and then supported more, and then it'll take off.
And the biggest sort of challenge we have is funding. This is an expensive sport, and we wouldn't be able to do it without our sponsors. We've got quite a few sponsors who really do, dig out blind for us and help us, especially from the early days where we weren't necessarily getting results and we were just trying to get our foot through the door. This particular set that we're renting was used by a Great Britain driver. He retired a couple of years ago, and it's sort of been in storage since. It is a good sled. It's expensive. They're not cheaper. Our 4-man sleds, if you buy a brand new sled, it's £100,000 off the shelf. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good sled, so that's why a lot of people who don't have the full funding or government funding will go for second-hand sleds because they're proven. This one is a proven sled, so our next sort of protocol with equipment is to find someone to back us to buy a
Threshold 2, you hear the word go. Riders ready? Ready. Attention. Go. ready. Ready. Attention. Go.
Well, some great pictures there from the slopes in Meribel, and before that, great to see John and also Adam there doing so well in their respective careers as they push on in bobsleigh. And before that, of course, loads of goals action from previous matches in the Under-23 Championship here at Inter-Services Football. We're back here live at Rayner's Lane. Don't forget, later on this afternoon, 5:15, our anticipated start of the skiing, the combined skiing over there in Meribel, and we'll be joining Kath Brazier and the team out there live around about 5:15 this afternoon UK time. So do stick around for that. We'll be with you right through, of course, until the end of the game here, and we'll take in the presentation as well this afternoon of this wonderful new trophy that is on offer. All three Inter-Services Under-23 games, by the way, will have a trophy on offer this year. This is the Neil Hope Trophy for the RAF versus Army game. The Richard Wilkie Wilkinson Trophy will be presented at the Royal Navy versus RAF game, and then we'll have the Joe Collins Trophy for the Army-Navy match as well. And I must say, Chris, I think it's great to have a trophy now presentation for all of the Under-23 fixtures. Well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, recognising people that have been involved in the sport for different various activities over the years, and then to kind of have them remembered each year for a period of time is fantastic. Yeah.
It really is. Well, we're just about ready to start the second half here. It's John Knighton and Lieutenant Commander Chris James with us on commentary, and thanks a lot to Jack and to Kieran for joining us earlier at half-time, just for their thoughts on the first half. Good to get a real Navy perspective on that from a couple of the players, and obviously they'll be involved next week, all being well, for the Royal Navy as they take on the Army next week at Aldershot. We'll be there, of course, for that one as we get the second half underway. The Army trailing by a goal to nil, playing then from right to left as we look from our position here, so just off centre in the main clubhouse here at Rayner's Lane. Ball harmlessly out of play, and it will be a goal kick. An early feel of the ball then for Joe Piercy, the RAF goalkeeper. So didn't have a shot to save in the first half. I expect the Army might be a bit more direct as we move into the second half, Chris.
Yeah, I think they'll certainly be looking at it at half-time going, you know, pretty happy to only be 1-0 down, but pretty unhappy about their threat at the other end, and certainly trying to do something to address that for sure.
Well, here's Josh Randall immediately coming away with the ball. Offside, though. The flag goes up immediately against Logan Buick. I say Josh Randall is a young man who's really impressed me in this first half. Based at RAF Coningsby, joined the squad for the last game of the previous Under-23 Inter-Services season. He currently plays for Newark Town in the United Counties League, and preferably on either wing, but he's looked really great as a wing-back today. Regularly with the seniors this season, coming off the bench in the senior team successful campaign last year. So that's Josh Randall, who's, again, I've been really impressed with this afternoon, Chris.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think on that occasion just delayed his pass a little bit, so Logan Buick strayed offside. We were looking right down the line. Good decision. But if he'd have given it a little bit earlier, a couple of seconds earlier, then he might have got Logan in.
Keep those messages coming through. We'll try and get through them as best we can when we have a break in play here. And Army will be looking to get themselves in parity as soon as they can, but the Air Force again dangerous on the break on this right-hand side. Ball will roll out of play. A bit too far for Luke Preen to chase. He's an important player for the Air Force, Chris, isn't he? Is Luke saying his last 2 matches at under-23 level before he becomes ineligible.
Yeah, definitely very important. Already, you know, been involved with the senior team as well. So does this work really well here? This hold-up play and linking play, and then trying to get into the box on the end of it.
Here's Hyam, scorer of the penalty. Well cut out there. A very important challenge from Danny Constable for the Army. But it's a good early start, good early pressure from the Air Force in this second half. Reynolds fires it forward, but easily dealt with by the RAF captain, Adam Lamb. Ball back on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Preen. Well, there's a bit of a challenge going up there. I think Alfie Moulding thought that it was probably fair, but the referee and his assistants.
Yeah, I think he saw the opportunity to try and impose himself a bit there, but Luke Preen did really well, protected the ball, got in between him and Alfie Moulding, and drew the foul. So really clever play from Luke Preen.
RAF just waiting for someone to come and take this free kick. And it's going to be Josh Randall, who's come over from the left side. Presumably with his left foot, he's going to curl it in, which is exactly what he does. But again, another wasted free kick from the Royal Air Force.
Yeah, another overhit free kick, this time from the Air Force, and they had good numbers in there, good runners, but accuracy of the execution, as ever, key to it.
Remains 1-0 then. Army then trying to push themselves forward. Good defensive work from Adam Lamb, keeping Owen James at bay. Army will then have a throw-in on this left-hand side, which Alfie Watts will take. Good turn from Simmons. Ball goes across. Oh. And how on earth did that stay out? Well, it seemed to hit the angle of bar and post. Great work from them. The goalkeeper sort of parried it, but it came off the crossbar. So Joe Piercy, well, it has to go down as a great save.
Well, yeah, it seemed to bounce off Joe Piercy, then bounce off Owen James, and then bounce off the post back into Joe Piercy's hand. So, yeah,
well,
extraordinary
what a
moment.
let-off for the Air Force then. The Army, that's the closest they've come. But I suppose it still doesn't count as a shot on target.
Not quite.
Well, we almost had an equaliser then for the Army there. That'll certainly give them a bit of hope at the beginning of this second half.
Yeah, good work to create the opportunity, which is where they've lacked a little bit in the first half. So they'll be really pleased with that that little moment to create that bit of panic, if you like, in the RAF box.
We've already played 5 minutes in this second half. Air Force still leading 1-0. Preen, good control from him. Holds it up well. Here's Buick. And eventually that ball put out into touch by Alfie Moulding.
Yeah, we see Preen this time on the left-hand side of the picture. He works out in wide areas, although he's a number 9. He's happy to get out there and try and create and help his team to create those opportunities.
Air Force, though, in the search of a second goal. Randall does really well again. Beats off a couple of challenges, but eventually the Army get it. Only half cleared. Nice turn from Staunton there. And that will be a corner kick to the Air Force. I believe this is their first corner of the match.
Second, isn't it? They just had that one. Yeah, that one a little moment ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's Randall is going to come across. In fact, it was a free kick, wasn't it, that Randall had in a few moments ago, rather than a corner. Yeah. So It is actually their first, but in effect it was a corner because it was in a very similar position. Yeah. But Josh Randall then going for the in-swinger. Well headed clear though by the Army. Pressure not relieved until now. Play on, says the referee. A few shouts for handball coming up there, but waved away. Moulding. More than a hopeful ball, it was a really good ball in the end. Lovely control as well from the number 7 from Leighton. And here's Owen James. Crossover. That's good defence as well from the Air Force. Moulding. Here's Simmons. Out to Watts. And Simmons again. But an offside against the other Watts, Alfie Watts this time, pushing forward on that left-hand side.
Yeah, that will frustrate them because they really built a bit of momentum there. They've gone on the right-hand side, a great pass from Alfie Moulding initially to start the attack. Then they created a cross as a result of that. Came around the other side and as that broke down, but that will really be frustrating because they were in another really good position to build a good attacking opportunity.
So goalkeeper Joe Piercy clears his lines. The RAF trying to put their own attack together at the moment. It's Army who have a big incentive, of course, to get themselves back into this game. 54 minutes played now. And still that penalty from Hyam after 11 minutes separating these two teams. No goal fest so far, but things can change.
No goals. Opportunities though, and a couple more again this half. So already more than the early exchanges in the first half. So hopeful for some more goal action. But the Army obviously will absolutely need to get something out of this because, as we know, you can't afford to lose your first game in these inter-services competitions. So they'll be absolutely pushing for the equaliser initially.
RAF just look really composed at the moment, but an equaliser for the Army would probably change all that.
Yeah, the psychology shifts massively then, doesn't it, straight away? So they'll be hopeful that they can create their own moments, which we haven't seen as many of so far, but yeah, still a fairly even contest.
Yeah, Gary Fisher says no VAR. No, thankfully no, depending on which side of the fence you're on as far as VAR is concerned. If you're an official, I think you quite like VAR. If, like me, you like seeing the game flow, then maybe VAR isn't for you. But here come the Army. Nice work from Watts. Still got the ball. Eventually lays it back to Reynolds. Reynolds will fire it cross field for Danny Constable. But that was, again, a good interception from Randall for the RAF. A foul on Preen by the skipper, Alfie Moulding, and a yellow card is brandished. That's the third yellow card going to an Army player.
Yeah, one too many there from Alfie Moulding on Luke Preen, and interesting battle that one. Those boys have been at it for a few years now, so still going hammer and tongs at it. Well, I'd say Luke Preen probably just getting the best parts of the early exchanges in the second half.
Free kick then comes in for the Air Force, headed clear by Army defence collectively. Now, here's Alfie Watts breaking on this left-hand side, but again, brilliant defensive work, great challenge. Real commitment from the RAF team this afternoon.
You should see the reaction to that tackle, it's fantastic.
Here's Constable. He'll take the 1-2. And Danny Constable, that's good goalkeeping as well. Great anticipation from Joe Piercy. Constable suddenly had the trapdoor open there, and he maybe sensed the opportunity, but Joe Pearcey off his line really quickly to narrow the angle. Did well.
Lovely football from the Army. Really created, really got into that area brilliantly. I'm not sure about the decision to square it. I think in that moment, perhaps take the shot. They're in again potentially. Good cover.
Yeah, great defensive cover once more from Adam Lamb. Hardly put a foot wrong in this game so far for the Air Force. And the Air Force have it. Getting really tasty out there. And that was another foul, and it's another yellow card being brandished this time, I think, at the RAF's.
Yeah, Dean Hyam, I think.
Dean Hyam has got the yellow. Say good afternoon to our team out in Maribel. I know that Lewis Bartley, our cameraman out there, is watching. Lewis, responsible, by the way, for all those magnificent shots that you saw maybe during the half-time of the snowboarding from our drone. And great pictures, just showing just what a great surface this is out there for our winter sports athletes. And don't forget, live coverage later on this afternoon from Maribel on the Alpine slopes. That's going to be around 5:15 our time this afternoon under the floodlights. But coming forward now are the Air Force. That ball, unfortunately for them, Jack Harrison couldn't quite find who he was looking for. In fact, it was Jake Staunton with his flame red hair there. Staunton receives the throw. Goes back to Randall. RAF just looking very composed with things at the moment. They've certainly got this licked at the moment, but the Army shown just a couple of minutes ago how dangerous they can be. Army have the throw. Reynolds to take it. Good work from Buick.
Yeah, just a few stray passes on there in those final moments, and it just kills the attack, kills the momentum. Saw it from Staunton, couldn't quite pick his pass, and Preen, great hold-up play.
Lovely cross ball, finds Watts. Army just beginning to dominate the possession in this second half at the moment. But can they turn it into a goal that will bring them parity? Watts will chase that with Cranswick. Cranswick goes down, Watts falls over him. And they both pick themselves up. No harm done. Goal kick. So an hour played then. We've got half an hour left in this Inter-Services Under-23 opening fixture of the season between the Royal Air Force and the British Army. At the moment, the RAF still ahead from that penalty on 11 minutes. What can the Army do to get themselves back into this? They came very close a few moments ago. And Danny Constable took a 1-2, couldn't make anything of it. But it's big pressure now from the Army, from the team in red. Opportunity. Good defence, though, from the Air Force. And they could leave themselves open here. Here's Preen on this right-hand side, looking for some support. Good defensive work from the Army. I think that's going to be a free kick, though. It was.
Dangerous work from Moulding there on a yellow card.
Yeah. He has been booked already. And Luke Preen has gone down and has stayed down just for a minute or two. Referee Phil Eddy, who was brought in at the last minute. There have been a few changes to the officials here today. Having a really strong word with the Army skipper. And the one thing they can't afford is for a red card.
Yeah, and particularly for their skipper, and you know, leader at the back there, and talks so well. So yeah, he's got to really keep his head.
So then, free kick then to the Royal Air Force. It's floated in. Oh, and it's against the bar, and it was actually it was Watts, I think, Alfie Watts with the header. That he got hold of it. Yeah, and against his own crossbar. So we've had the woodwork touched on both ends now in this match.
Yeah, finally a really good delivery in, wasn't it? And then, you know, creates that opportunity, not as it happened for the RAF, but still off the back of really good execution.
Well, it could have been 2-0 then to the Air Force. They've had those chances in the first half, but it's still only 1-0. Aaron Moore chasing it. And he will win. No, he won't. It's a goal kick. So good defensive work then from Luke Cranswick there, just keeping the Army at bay. I think we're sort of heading for possible substitution time, aren't we? Maybe both benches maybe looking at a couple of changes here.
Yeah, just over 25 minutes to go. A few of them out warming up, so freshen things up.
Emma Staunton says, Flame, red hair, brilliant, that's my boy. Yeah, we picked him out, Jake, on that left-hand side for the Air Force. But it's a free kick then to the British Army, which will be taken by Lewis Simmons. I've been impressed with him as well, Chris. He's really put himself about on this pitch, hasn't he, today? He's been there helping the defence, and he's been at the centre of things going forward, so he's certainly put the hard yards in so far for the Army.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he has the free kick then. Goalkeeper parries it away, despite the challenge from Alfie Watts coming in. Ball still in play. Air Force trying to clear their lines. Eventually they do, with Logan Buick. Here's Ethan Reynolds. Army clear, or RAF clear rather. And here comes the first change that is being made. And coming onto the pitch is Owen Gray. He's going to be coming on, and the man who's gone off actually is the man we were just talking about a few seconds ago, Lewis Simmons. So Simmons off, and Owen Gray has come on for the Army. Yeah, good defensive work there from Danny Constable.
Yeah, just looks like a straight swap as well. Owen Gray's gone up there as a
sort of
second striker.
Yep. I think it's Matty Gray actually, who has come on. Yeah, joined the Army in February 2021. Lance Corporal Gray passed out of phase 2 training as an avionics technician. But hoping to make his mark here in this match. It's the Air Force though, bringing it clear over the halfway line. I want a real opportunity then, if he can get there first, and he certainly can. And it's a 2-0 lead then. Logan Buick then, chasing hard, getting the goal, and it was absolutely out of nothing, Chris.
Yeah, it was a pass to the striker really that he didn't pick up. He would probably been offside if he had, so and then yeah, Logan Buick, you know, great energy this deep into the game, you know, been making those runs all day, and then just beats the keeper there, doesn't manage to sweep up the goalkeeper, and then calmly slots it home. Really, really good work.
He timed his run to perfection, and it's not the first time he's scored in this inter-services level as Logan Buick. 3 years in the RAF under-23 team, scored a couple of years ago. He's got a second, and well, if you look at the opportunities that the RAF have had, they probably just about deserve it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a you know, a classic kind of goal where the intention isn't necessarily that, but just awareness and taking advantage of the moment from Logan Buick's perspective, you know, and you create something from it. You just create that little moment of confusion in the Army defence and take advantage of it. So really exceptional work from him.
So 65th minute then, the RAF have a 2-0 lead here in this inter-services match against the British Army. And the Army have got a real job on their hands now if they're going to pull something out of this. But you can never write them off.
Great pass.
RAF have just looked really composed on the ball, and that second goal has put a bit of light blue water, of course, between them and the British Army under-23 players. What can the young Army lads do here? Well, it's going to be very interesting these last few minutes. If the Army can get a goal here, we're in for a rip-roaring end to this match.
Yeah, it'd be interesting now to see how the RAF react to this. You know, they've got still quite a lot of the game left. Will they continue to play their football? Will they look to be more secure defensively and then, you know, allow the Army more possession? So their response to their kind of response to this now is going to be interesting and may set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Paul Smith says great finish, and he's absolutely right. He took it really well composed. The way that this game has been going, I can't see the RAF sitting back on this, Chris.
No, that's why I say I wonder what their reaction will be, because I don't see it. The Army, what they must do now is really, not that they haven't been, but they really have to press, try and win the ball in these areas and counter out of these areas, because that's where they've had their best opportunities from.
But of course, by doing that, they can leave themselves open at the back, as we just saw.
Yeah, but there's a risk that needs to be taken now as we clock into almost, what, just over 20 minutes left of normal time.
RAF 2-0 up here. Penalty in the first half. Terrific finish from Logan Buick in the second. But which way is this going to go? Long throw then. Actually not quite as long as we thought it might be, but Breen is on the end of it, but so too is Ethan Reynolds. Constable over his head. Goalkeeper down well.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Jack Harrison. He's read that all afternoon long. He's defended that space in behind brilliantly, rarely put a foot wrong, and just kind of dealt with all those little balls in behind exceptionally well. So he's had a really good game.
Oh, I think the RAF at the back have been terrific today. They really have played well. And at the end of the day, it's them who've got the goals. And Danny Bartley will be absolutely thrilled with this performance from his young players. The whole 18-man squad that's left is here. The original 25, they've lost a few through, I think, through some illness and also a bit of injury. So this is the entire RAF under-23 squad who are here, the 18. High challenge, that will be a severe talking to, I think, from the referee for Don Walmsley. But no harm done. It looks like, again, Jake Staunton, who's been on the end of a few of these challenges, hasn't he?
He's been amongst the play a lot, hasn't he? He's had a good game as well. You know, one of the many RF boys who have. But, yeah, not scared to stick his head in where it hurts. And thankfully he's okay.
Yeah, Emma, don't worry, Mum. He's okay. And he's looked very sharp today. It'll be Jack Harrison then. Just plays it short to his captain. Floated into the box. As the RAF look for a third. Oh, and that's a really good effort as well. Brilliant effort from Dean Hyam there, which flies just wide. Certainly worth a go from that angle.
Yeah,
from that.
It was a great effort. Yeah, just hit the back of the net from the outside of the goal. But
and you can just see how the confidence levels in the RAF are up at the moment. Again, that defensive header there from Harrison. Back to his goalkeeper, knew exactly where he was. Owen, so Gray then. Matty Gray has come on, hoping that for the Army that they can grab a goal, which they need to get fairly shortly. But the RAF again playing some really neat football, as they can afford to do. But here's Jack Layton. Layton outside to Moore. And he ends up over the fence. But no harm done there. And the ball is harmlessly out for a goal kick to the Royal Air Force. Live here on our Forces News YouTube channel and Facebook as well, and BFBS to our overseas viewers. Wherever you are today, you're more than welcome. RAF then have a throw. Midway inside their own half. Good work again from Harrison. And here's Randall. Long hopeful ball, only collected though by Danny Constable. Out of play it goes.
Yeah, nothing really developed in front of him there, so he just thought rather than take any risks with the ball, just you know, fairly sensibly get it up there, regroup, and then go again. But it has actually led to the Army getting into a good position.
Well, they have a set piece here. They've not made very much use of their set pieces so far. Can they get themselves back into this game? It's Alfie Watts who's going over to take it. Again, he'll swing that ball in, which he does. But good defensive work that time from Cranswick. Luke Cranswick gets the ball clear. Time is just creeping along then. Approaching the last 15 minutes of this match. Oh, great effort from Aaron Moore, and parried away by the keeper in the end. He found himself with an opportunity then, worked his way through.
Yeah, just absolute determination from Moore, wasn't it? It was just
He smashed it.
Power his way through there and get the shot away.
Goalkeeper did well, and Joe Piercy again called into action. Lots of instructions coming from the RAF bench at the moment. They'll realise that the Army are going to be really challenging and really pushing now to get themselves back into this. Touch of cramp then for the goal scorer, Logan Buick. Just receiving some support from a teammate. Army have made a change. Coming on again is Fermi Taki, Blandford, Morecambe, Macclesfield Town player. Joined them at 17. So what can he do? He's gone wide onto that right-hand side. Trying to put Moore through. And here he is once more. It's Taki. Cross comes in. Oh, and it's driven wide again by the Army. And that was Aaron Moore who had the final touch there. Again, felt he could have done better, couldn't he?
Yeah, brilliant, great work. Taki come in and made a really good first impression there. Two really good involvements, really measured pass for the forward run, and a good cross. But yeah, that's a big opportunity for the Army.
Well, they're not going to get too many opportunities. They've not been afforded too many by the Air Force. They've got to put one of those away if they're going to get back into this. It remains 2-0 in favour of the team in light blue. This would be their best result for a long, long time. Opportunity again, and this time it's Jake Staunton who air shots it. Again, he might have given himself a bit more time there. He had the opportunity, another
Yeah,
Another
a bit of
touch
space in
cramp.
front of him.
Several players going down with the cramp at the moment. It's a big pitch here, isn't it, at Rayner's Lane?
Yeah, and the the direct nature of some of the football, where you're just hitting balls into channels and asking boys to make big runs. Yeah, it soon starts taking its toll, especially if you're not playing regular football. You know, this is one of the challenges of inter-service football.
I mean, most of these young lads will probably be playing in local football at somewhere, but again, not necessarily all on a 3G pitch like this. But at the moment, this new trophy is heading in the direction of the Royal Air Force here. They lead by 2-0. The Neil Hope Trophy. Neil Hope, who's done extraordinary work throughout his RAF career as a player, as a coach, as an official, and an honorary role too. But some amazing work that he's done in Africa. In today's match programme, there's some pictures of some young recipients of shirts that his team have organised out there in Kenya. Here's Staunton. Good run from him. Tries to turn, but he's knocked off the ball in the end by Taki. Army, what can they do here? Here's Leighton. And Walmsley. Back out to Leighton again. Opportunity then. Goalkeeper is there first. Makes the save.
Yeah, nice bit of build-up play there from the Army. Got some passes together, some good connections, combinations, and again didn't quite just pick out the final ball to the forward run.
I wonder if a bit of game management's coming into this now for the Air Force. They have a 2-0 lead, remember, into the last 12 minutes or so. Had no stoppage time whatsoever, about 30 seconds of stoppage time at the end of the first half with the changes that have been made. Well, I can only see one for each side so far, so there's not been any serious stoppages, maybe a couple of breaks in play, but I don't think we're going to have a huge amount of stoppage time here, Chris.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, anyway.
It's looking that way at the moment, for sure.
Staunton. Just trying to put Preen through. A good high press from the RAF, which suggests that they're not sitting back on this lead at all. Opportunity maybe, but again, Jack Harrison, who's been an outstanding player for them at the back today. Harrison and Lamb looking really, really strong at the back for the Air Force. And if the result stays like this, of course, Chris, it means that we will have a deciding fixture when the Navy take on the RAF in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it means that last fixture will count for something if the Army can't dig themselves out of this, for sure.
Here's Preen. Got a couple of defenders on him, but he's still going. Looking for some support, tried to find it, and it was a really good run from Luke Cranswick. But Luke Preen unable to get the ball across to Cranswick. Here's Waters. And in fact, Tom Naisbitt, who's come on as a substitute for the Air Force. That one slipped our view here, but the Air Force have made a change. Thomas Naisbitt is on. Looking to bolster things at the back for them as they push forward again. Preen, well, the flag has gone up for offside. That must have been really tight because he was running from the halfway line.
Yeah, he'd almost got his feet on side and his body off. I think that's why the official's given it there. But he made a real great effort to get back into his own half, but not sure he managed to do it completely. They've just passed it straight there to...
Oh, that's another nasty challenge on on Jake Staunton, who's he's going to have a few bumps and bruises tonight. I think another yellow card has been issued, and who's that gone to? I think it's gone to
Constable, I think, yeah.
Danny Constable for that challenge.
He's passed it straight to him and then gone and tried to make amends for it and clattered him, so not his greatest moment.
Neil Jones says, great to see the light blues winning, watching all the way over here in New Delhi, play at the Air Force. Richard Wyeth is watching. Good afternoon to you, Richard. BFBS down in Aldershot. Normally, I think, would support a team wearing all red, Richard, wouldn't you? But they're not doing so well, this team in red today. 2-0 down to the Air Force. That's a really good challenge, though, from Reynolds. Plays the ball wide onto the left-hand side, and a really good run then from Gray. But once again, I would say almost a man-of-the-match performance so far from Jack Harrison.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, from out of nowhere, hasn't he? Just come round and tidied that up for real threat.
He's been magnificent, he really has. No player of the match award being awarded here, but I think you'd have to go a long way to find someone who's had a better afternoon of football than Jack Harrison. He's been brilliant for the RAF today. Absolutely given nothing away. Good cross comes in. Ball comes back. And once again, Don Walmsley's off target with his attempt. And you've got to say, Chris, they've had the opportunities, the Army. They've had the opportunities to get back into this.
Yeah, he's just a little bit off balance, wasn't he? Leading back, couldn't quite control his strike at goal, and it kind of drifted high and wide. But yeah, they've had more opportunities, created more chances, that's for sure. But probably only one or two real shots that Joe Pearcey's had to actually deal with. So lacking that cutting edge still.
So 83rd minute of this match, and there's another change being made by the Air Force. And they're making a couple of changes, actually. Raul Christer is coming on, and number 17 is Ryan Mulligan. So Christer wearing number 12, and just seeing who the changes are that are coming off. Well, one of the men coming off is Jake Staunton, who's had a terrific game for the Air Force, and the other man who's making way looks like it's Amani Riley.
Yeah, just freshening it up in midfield now, just to re-energise it in there, make sure they can fight for the scraps, do their work in there.
Yeah, Riley coming off as well. So just tightening up in midfield. It's game management time for the Air Force with this 2-0 lead. There's the man who got their second goal with a fantastic run, and he's played the ball wide onto this right-hand side.
Still making those runs.
Taking the 1-2. Well, I don't think Logan Buick has taken the knock. Well, Don Walmsley arguing his points, arguing his case with the assistant referee. But nothing doing there, Chris.
No, well,
it looked like a foul.
The official was right there alongside it, saw it, you know, pretty crystal clear and gave it straight away. So, yeah, no arguments really from me.
RAF then 2-0 up into the last 5 minutes of this game of normal time. Waters, number 25. RAF have another throw, which Logan Buick is going to take. Waters receives it. Here's one of the subs, Naisbitt, and the other substitute, Ryan Mulligan, getting some early touches. Now the RAF handling in this well. They've flooded the midfield now, which is really denying the Army too many chances.
Yeah, looking to work the clock now as much as they can, aren't they? So into that cagey stage of the game.
I think Danny Bartley will be absolutely thrilled to pieces, really, with the way his players have played here. Shot comes in, but blocked again by the RAF defence, and just no way through for Gray there. Here's Constable, what can he do? He floats it in. Goalkeeper is there, punches away. And he receives it in the end. The high ball, I think he punched one of his own players.
Well, I didn't do the, yeah, it was a 50-50 the first punch, but then again it popped up and back into his hands, and he's secured the ball, but I wasn't sure about the first one. The Army is certainly asking for something, but I don't think it constituted a foul, potentially.
Oh, I've seen those given, Chris.
Yeah.
That's a corner to the RAF, which is absolutely perfect for them at this stage. Another corner then. They'll just wind the clock down now. Just around 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, great work by Raul Christa. Comes in with those fresh legs, manages to kind of give Constable a bit of a headache going backwards, and then gets a really good outcome for his work, and then they'll try and keep it in the corner.
Well, there's a lot going on over there in that corner.
Yeah.
Nothing untoward, says the referee. So quickly, Davy Watts takes the throw. Our Army's still battling away, trying to get something here. That's a nice turn, a beautiful ball through for Leighton. Squares it, and it goes right across the face of goal. They've done just about everything but score of the Army. They got that opportunity that when they hit the crossbar and the ball bounced off the post, that was the closest they've been, really.
Yeah, they certainly have more threat, haven't they, this half? But yeah,
as you would expect.
Yeah,
but
exactly as we said at half time, they're going to have to go and try and impose themselves more. And they've had good outcomes from that, except for that the final piece in the puzzle, really.
Two 2-0 though, the RAF leading as we head into these last few minutes, the last couple of minutes of normal time here at Rayner's Lane. Army still asking questions. Here's Constable. Ball goes wide onto that right-hand side, but again, brilliantly collected and dealt with by Harrison. RAF just happy to hoof the ball down the pitch now. Watts tries to go cross field, but it's dealt with again by the defence. Here's Reynolds. Outside to Taki. Gets a good cross in. Goalkeeper eventually makes it.
Great cross, really, yeah. And
Aaron Moore just holding his head, thinking, oh, if only.
Yeah, he couldn't quite get the connection.
That could have made it very interesting in these last few moments. But again, the RAF pushing and pushing and aiming to get. Here's Breen. Good control from him. Just holding it up well. That's really nice work from Alfie Watts too. I think he was fouled there, wasn't he? But he's still going. And here comes Leighton. Can he get the cross in? Yes, he can. But there's a blue head on the end of it.
Another great defensive header.
They defended so well this afternoon. And they've got an opportunity here with Luke Breen. Goes first time, which of course he had to. Ball goes wide.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure from Alfie Watts, wasn't he? He knew he had to hit it first time, so pulled the trigger, but couldn't quite direct it on goal.
Yeah, referee Phil Eddy has taken a look at his watch. We are into stoppage time now. And surely this is going to be the RAF's afternoon. They haven't experienced a victory in inter-services under-23 football for 3 years. And this will be very, very sweet for them if they can hold on, which looks pretty certain now. And they've been very intelligent, haven't they, in the way they've played this one, Chris, this afternoon?
Yeah, definitely. I think less threat at the goal in the second half, and the Army have certainly done what they were undoubtedly asked to do. But they've managed to kind of manage the game really nicely and take their opportunity when it arose, which is obviously key to their success.
Measured performance from the team in light blue. Their home fixture here, the RAF. I'm sure with a lot of the RAF team management watching here from the senior team, they'll be well impressed with some of the performances that they've seen. Well, that was a very tight offside. We're not quite in line here. The referee has said that, well,
Great pass, nevertheless. If he was slightly off, it was an excellent pass.
Krista, yeah, just offside. The Army done by a penalty then in the first half, and then an excellent goal scored by Logan Buick in the second to make it 2-0. They have the throw. Into the second minute of stoppage time now. Ball goes wide from Cranswick. That's straight to the arms of the goalkeeper. Moulding. Straight to a blue shirt. Here's Krista. Army have it. And the chase is on. Oh, getting themselves in a bit of a muddle.
Yeah, the goalkeeper stayed on his line, asked them to deal with it, and then caused a bit of confusion.
Yeah. Jack Harrison having to do what he had to do in the end to put it out for yet another corner for the British Army. And we must be getting into
change.
Yep, one more change being made. So the Army bringing on Nathan Kay. And the man who's going off, it looks like Don Wormsley, who's gone off. Nathan will be lucky if he gets a touch of the ball, but you never know. So Watts with the corner, aimed for that far post, but safe and sound for the goalkeeper, for Joe Piercy, who throws himself to the ground. Very, very close then to the end of this match. 3 minutes of stoppage time played here at Rayner's Lane, and still the RAF have a 2-0 lead here. And surely this is going to be their afternoon. Josh Randall then will take the throw eventually when he gets the ball back. Can we see some late drama here? Taki gets the ball. It goes wide onto this left-hand side to Alfie Watts. And that is the last action of this second half, and it's a victory then for the team in light blue. Well, it's their first win for more than 3 years, Chris James, and very well deserved in the end.
Yeah, a really good performance across the board from the RAF. I think they're obviously their first half performance, as we said at the time, they would have been disappointed not to get more out of, with some really big chances, clear-cut chances. But going into the second half, maintained that kind of quality with and without the ball, dealt with the ball in behind really, really well. And yeah, got their goal with a real good awareness from their winger, Logan Buick, and finished it off with a really solid kind of, just closed out the game really confidently.
And you can see what it means to these RAF players as well. They've waited so long for a victory at this level in the under-23 championship, and they have finally produced it. And I think well worth the win today. It's been a really good performance from the RAF. We're hoping to catch a quick word in a few moments with the RAF captain, and I think that he'll be talking to Julian Evans, Adam Lamb, very, very shortly, if we can get hold of Adam for a quick chat. And he's just down on the pitch now, and I think very, very shortly we'll be hearing from him. We're not sure if the presentation of the trophy is going to be made on the pitch or not, but I can also see a very happy man, Danny Bartley, who's the head coach. But I think he is now ready to talk to Julian Evans. That's the RAF captain, Adam Lamb.
Yeah, thanks, John. I'm delighted to say that we've got a winning skipper, Adam Lamb, with us. Delighted with the performance today. The penalty went in pretty early, but since then, you basically bossed it.
Yeah, we said that on this pitch today, that if we play the way we can play, then we should be fine. They're a big, strong team. We knew they were going to come out and be physical. You could see that as well. There's a lot of fouls, but you just got to play the way we played there and come away with a good result.
You played really well. You've had a few interruptions in training in terms of personnel missing, bit of illness, bit of injury, so this sounds a bit odd. But have you surprised yourselves with the way that you've played today?
Yeah, we had a lot of players that have been unlucky with going on detachments and getting injured, but we've got a bare 18 here, but that 18's good enough to go on and win easily.
In terms of the competition, you don't want to get too carried away because it's only half time because you've still got the Royal Navy to come. So an eye on what happens next week in Aldershot between the Army and the Navy?
Yeah, exactly. We're hoping obviously a result goes in our way, but no matter what, we're going to go to the next game and we're going to try and do our best to beat both teams. May as well try it, won't we?
Give us a little insight then. What are you going to say to these boys after today's performance?
If we play that way against the Navy and we make sure that we're calm, composed, play the way we know we can play, then we could get a good result against the Navy. Hopefully Army give us a favour as well.
Well, it's too early to say how the main tournament's going to go, but a chance for you to lift some silverware in a minute with the Neil Hope Trophy.
Exactly. Everything's nice. Every time you get silverware, you're happy with it, aren't you? So, one of them.
Well, look, congratulations. We'll head back to John. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Mate.
Cheers.
Adam Lamb then, the victorious captain of the RAF under-23 team, talking there to Julian Evans. And we're going to have a presentation very, very shortly for the very first time for the Neil Hope Trophy. And I'm sure the RAF will be absolutely delighted because with Neil, with his great reputation and record, of course, with RAF football, Chris, it's almost fitting that he should be presenting this trophy to an RAF team.
Yeah, they'll be certainly very pleased with that, won't they, John? Yeah, and here come up the officials now. But yeah, a really great tribute, really.
Yeah, well done to the three officials who've come in. Phil Eddy today, also to Liam Dudman and Kieran Nash, who've been on the field with our fourth official, Jonathan Bateson, all from the senior service. Chris has done a good job today. Quite a few yellow cards brandished around, but I don't think it's been that sort of a game. Anyway, here comes the presentation then, which Neil Hope is going to be presenting the trophy himself to the winning captain. It's happening right now, and many congratulations to the RAF, winners of the very first Neil Hope Trophy, claiming this title. And it means, of course, it's going to be the Royal Navy or the RAF, assuming that we go to a deciding fixture in 2 weeks' time. But next week, of course, Chris, we've got the Army-Navy clash to look forward to as well. Al Aldershot, I'm sure you're looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how the Navy look against the Army. And they've obviously had some really good intel today in terms of, I know the boys have been down in Portsmouth and HMS Temeraire watching this game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they can bring up to the table.
Well, Chris James, thanks ever so much for your company here this afternoon at Rayner's Lane. Enjoyed it. Great victory for the RAF under-23 players, beating the Army by 2-0. Don't forget, live here on Forces News YouTube, we've got live alpine skiing coming your way at round about 5:15 this afternoon. So I hope you can join the team out there in Maribel then. But from me, John Knighton, and all our team here at Rayner's Lane this afternoon, and indeed back at our headquarters as well, it's a very good afternoon, and thanks very much indeed for watching.
That's a superb save. That's a superb save.